Good afternoon, Imo Lites, Imo State and beyond. Welcome to Imo Light Up and happy Wednesday. I'm your host, Ndidi Anike Val-Okeoma, and today we are diving into something we all face, fear and self-doubt. Now, don't forget, last week we talked about the power of purpose and we had an insightful session and you all had your assignment. So I hope you did that. We're going to check in on that. But wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us on Imo Light Up Radio Show, only on Buzz Radio 98.9 FM. Now, for the next hour, this is your power hour of motivation, empowerment, and impact. And every week, we're bringing you some complex and insightful topic, and we're going to break it down. So here's how the next hour is going to go. We're going to spend a little bit of time highlighting a spotlight, a change maker, something going on in the States, in the region, in the country. Then we'll hear from our phenomenal guest speaker, and I'm so excited about you hearing about this lady, this powerful lady. We're going to engage in some interactive session. We'll hear some comments and questions. And I know you all will have a lot of questions and thoughts on this one. Then I'll leave you with some tips. And then we're going to have an assignment, because we're not just here to have fun. We're not just here to engage in insight and hear some insight, but we're also here to, take what we learned and actually apply it to our lives. Now, if you joined us last week, you remember the challenge or the action step was to reflect 10 minutes every day on what you love doing and how you can help others, how you can use that to help others. And that's a direction towards finding your purpose. So if you did that for 10 minutes every day the past week, and you still don't have your purpose, there could be an obstacle stopping you or hindering you, and that could actually stem from fear and self-doubt, which actually segues perfectly into this week's theme. So thank you for joining us wherever you are in the world. If you're in North America, I know we have a global audience. Good morning. I think it's 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. where you are. If you're in Asia, where you're just getting off work or having dinner, I hope you have an amazing dinner. And if you're right here in Africa, in West Africa or Europe, well, I hope you have your lunch prepared, but I'm sure this show will satisfy all your desires. So welcome to Imo Light Up Radio Show. I'm your host, Ndidi Anike Val-Okeoma, and this is only on Buzz Radio 98.9 FM. And I would like to quickly thank our sponsor of this episode. We have Pearlville School. Pearlville School is a top-tier nursery, primary, and secondary school right here in the heart of Owerri, Imo State. And they have an amazing program. They coming up a summer camp for nursery, primary, and junior secondary. And they also have an amazing 3-week intensive leadership academy for the senior SS1 to 3 and the recent high school graduates. So thank you, Pearlville School, for continuing building fearless future leaders through education and entrepreneurship. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Imo Light Up Radio Show. So, and today's changemaker we're highlighting is actually quite incredible. So, y'all reached out to me and you said, you have to talk about this person. There's this young lady named Tara Robinson. She is turning plantain stems into wigs, bags, and shoes. I mean, it's incredible. I had to do my research because I did not believe it at first, but it's incredible. She's turning waste into eco fashion. Talk about sustainability, talk about innovation, talk about job creation. So she used her natural resource from her environment and is actually not just recycling. There's something called upcycling. She's turning into an advantage and actually making a profit. So wherever you are, if you see Tara Robinson, congratulate her, give her a snap, because she's doing an incredible thing. I mean, who would think of plantain stems and seeing that and say, okay, no, this can be turned into wigs. And I'm sure you're also asking, okay, how can this be done? Well, apparently it's, they use the plantain fiber, they soften it, dial it, and then you're able to style it. So it's honestly incredible. Watch the video if you can see her. To get more insights, and maybe you could also do it yourself, because I know a lot of us, when we cook, we don't even think of the stem, we just throw it away. But this lady, our mind went somewhere else. So congratulations to you there. And the opportunity, because one thing we also said we'll highlight, and if you know any change makers do an amazing thing that needs to be shine on, send a message to Imo Lite Up, IMO LITEUP, on our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Send us messages so we know who to bring to spotlight, because I'm sure there are amazing people. There are people doing amazing things around the country. So it's important for us to take note of that. Now, another segment is also making sure that we bring opportunities, life-changing opportunities, to your doorsteps, or to your ears, let's say. So this Saturday is World Blood Donor Day. So it's very critical to help others save lives. We're thankful for being alive, and if there's any way we can help a lending hand, that would be wonderful. So this Saturday is World Blood Donor Day, and there's the National Blood Services Agency, the Southeast Zone. They're doing an array of events from this week to next week, and it'd be great if you can save lives. That's amazing. If you can't, maybe you have someone, or you can bring someone that can. So, and it's very critical, because although we're in June, the Ember months, September, October, November, December, are critical periods where many hospitals say that they need a lot of blood. So these are just an opportunity happening in the state. We've highlighted a change maker, we've highlighted an opportunity. And so stay tuned. Thank you for joining us again on Imo Light Up Radio Show. We are about to get into our speaker, so stay tuned. I'm going to play a little music, and we're going to introduce our speaker, because I am just excited for y'all to hear from her.
You say you want expensive shit, but I'm far away with you. You where you never am out, but I'm about one brother. You go rock and run down, body me double your slow. Respect yourself, oh. Stop living fake life. Ororo no be good boy, pussycat no be tiger, monkey at us chimpanzee. Walk you, but I no be for monkey, oh. You wanna have a big boy, swagger on your volley, oh. Walk you, or I meet the pamoche, oh. Walk you, watch your coat to feed your body, oh. Walk you, or I meet Murasi, oh. Walk you, watch your coat to feed your body, oh. Walk you, now you then go see for club. Drinking water, you want to my water, see, oh, the road, yeah, yàtọ̀ sí chimpanzee. Walk you, but I no be for monkey o. Ìwọ náà fẹ́ ṣe big boy, swagger ń ṣe fọ́lẹ̀ o. Walk you, ọ̀rẹ́ mi tẹpá mọ́ṣẹ́ o. Walk you, watch your coat to feature your body o. Walk you, ọ̀rẹ́ mi múra sí iṣẹ́ o. Walk you, watch your coat to feature your body o. Walk you. Hustle no fit to kill anybody, oh. Hustle.
All right. Welcome back to Imo Light Up Radio Show. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us. Now we're about to have an insightful conversation with our guest speaker, our experts. And before I introduce her to you, I just want to let you all know that you can join us in the conversation after our conversation together. You can join us by calling the live studio number 0912 267 7989. That's 0912 267 7989. You can call in and ask your questions, or you can send us a WhatsApp message with any questions and comments for our speaker at 0806 999 2999. Again, that's 0806 999 2999. All right, so our speaker for today is Mrs. Ndidi Anike Val-Okeoma, Esquire. She's popularly known as The Voice, a seasoned legal practitioner with over 20 years of experience and the managing partner of Ndidi Anike and Partners. Ndidi is a passionate human rights and gender advocate, a former gubernatorial aspirant, TEDx speaker, and active voice for women and children. She brings a wealth of wisdom, compassion, and courage to every platform. Ndidi is our special guest on this second episode, and she'll be sharing deep insight of overcoming fear and self-doubt. Welcome, Miss Ndidi. Welcome, Ndidi. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Chinonso, for having me. Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
Good, I'm all right.
Good.
Thank God.
I was so excited to have you because I'm like, this is a perfect episode for you. You have, when I listened to you and I heard you speak at an event, I was like, your story is so powerful. Your energy is so powerful.
Thank you.
The youth and the change makers and just Imo Lites and beyond need to hear you. So, are you ready to get started?
Sure, right on.
Okay, so what, from your journey and from your experience, what were you afraid of when you started your journey?
All right, thank you, Chinon. So I think I'm going to start by asking what journey.
Okay.
Because your journey could be in different phases. I always wanted to be a lawyer, right from the time I was 5. And at each transition, I was not afraid because this was exactly what I wanted to do. So for that journey, I would say there was no fear. That is the journey achieving my dreams of becoming a lawyer. There was no fear. But my journey as a woman who has come to appreciate who she is, what she has, her inner strengths, and what makes her tick. I think that journey started when I got pregnant and became a mom.
Wow.
Because I had become a lawyer. I had left the law school. I had started working, and then it happened. Yes. So that kind of, took me away from the idealistic picture that I had of myself. And so I would say that's when the journey began. And so, looking at your question, what was your fear?
Yes.
My fear was, would I still make impact as much as I wanted to? Would I still live a purposeful life? Would motherhood, while not being married at the time, would it make me a woman of impact, a woman of honor? Because I have always wanted to be a person of impact. I've always wanted to be someone who would leave you with a lasting impression, and with a commitment to yourself to be a better person. Yes. And so I had that fear that with what had just happened, I'm not sure I'll be able to do that. It looked like, the horizon was shaded.
Okay.
And yeah, that was my fear at the time.
Okay.
Until I began to evolve, until I began to tell myself some hard truths, until I began to understand that the best form of revenge is success, and that you must own your story, and that the first step towards healing is actually learning to take responsibility. Because when you take responsibility for the part that you played, then you wouldn't always want to play the blame game. You would own your part, you would take responsibility. And what happens with taking responsibility is that you are re-energized to now do the right thing.
Okay.
You are more focused to be on the right path, because now it's all about you. It's not about who did what and who did what to you and who said what to you. It's just all about you. What can I make out of this, and what is the end point at the end of the day? So
Wow.
That was my journey. That was the fear of my journey. Will I still be that woman that I've always wanted to be? I've always dreamt of that woman of impact that would leave a lasting impression and change lives for the better.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Own your journey. I love that. Now, was there any moments, basically, there's this moment where we call the aha moment, like a moment of realization.
Eureka.
Yes. What changed for you? Or was there a specific moment you can think of where something just changed for you, where you realized you needed to be a life of impact or purpose and take ownership of your journey?
Yeah, it was the day that word came, that the first step towards healing is
Okay.
taking responsibility.
Okay.
And so here I was, pregnant, and had the baby,
Wow.
and thinking, okay, the world has come to an end, and I wouldn't be that influential lawyer that I've always wanted to be, until, God started speaking to me to remind me that broken crayons still color.
That's deep.
Yeah, so it's just broken, but it doesn't lose its essence. It still does that which it would have done, assuming it was still whole. And so that I was still very relevant, and that I was just about to begin the real journey, the purpose for which he called me. And I think that was when it, my vision was birthed, which was the first time I saw Judges chapter 5 verse 7 in the Bible, for those who are Christians. And then I went to that scripture, and it says, village life was silent until I, Deborah, arose, a mother in Israel. It was still a bit confusing until much later, when I realized that my purpose was to raise women, a new order of women who would appreciate who they are, raise themselves in excellence, integrity, and tact, and influence their world. Just take on their world and influence their world, irrespective of the stories that have carved them. Because really, so great destinies are birthed
Wow.
in the womb of pain and shame.
Wow.
I've come to realize that. So, and that was it. That was the aha moment for me. The moment I realized that out of my pain would come something so beautiful, something so impactful, something that would not turn me down. Just like we're talking about the lady who uses plantain stems to make wigs. Plantain stem. That's,
Yes.
it's
incredible.
It's incredible,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that which looks ugly to everyone, seemingly, is what she has turned into something so beautiful, so profitable, so impactful, so valuable. And that is exactly the story of my life. So I took that part of my story that looked like, the usual, that's the end of it,
Right.
hide yourself away, keep yourself down, and all of that. And then I just turned it into something I regard as phenomenal, telling people you can still find your voice in the midst of the storm, and that voice can resonate as loud as you want it to be.
Wow.
It's your story. You just own it.
Wow, are y'all hearing that? And there's a reason why she's called The Voice, because I'm already getting chills just hearing it, So the next one is, what would you say to someone right now battling with self-doubt?
The first thing is, you just need to understand that everybody has self-doubts. It's not you. It's not about you. Everybody has self-doubts, even those of us who seem to radiate confidence everywhere. But one of the things you need to understand is, whatever is making you have self-doubts cannot define who you are. And so you must understand that even though there are doubts, you are bigger than that doubt, and that you can take whatever it is and push it forward, like failing forward, right? And you would also have to surround yourself with people who are positive minded and who can encourage you that you are beautiful, you are valuable, you are enough. And, you know, just basically take that doubt and move it. If you're about to bake a cake, for example, so you have flour.
Yes.
And then you have all the raw ingredients, or you're about to cook something, you have all the raw ingredients. Right. Honestly, those raw ingredients in their state do not really look good, right?
Exactly.
I mean, flour looks bland and dry, and then the eggs look, and all of that. They don't look nice at all. So it's understandable for you to imagine, I hope that, this thing, the way it's looking, is going to look well. But you see, the difference between the person who has self-doubt and the person who is confident is purpose.
Right.
I want to bake a cake. You've already seen the end from the beginning. You've already seen the finished product, right? So you've seen a beautiful 3-tiered cake, all nicely decorated. So the ingredients in its raw form don't matter. All you're seeing is the finished product. So if you're dealing with self-doubt, I would want to ask you, what did you have in mind? What was your plan and what was your goal? You planned to get to Akwa by 12 o'clock. You should see yourself in Akwa by 12 o'clock. So when you come out to Wedroll and you don't see a boss and there is self-doubt, your mind is, well, I will be in Akwa. So it should be that picture, the goal at the end of it, because at the end of it, all you want to do is succeed in what you've decided to do.
Right.
So in spite of that self-doubt, you need to walk yourself out of it, reminding yourself of the picture. Remember again what the Bible says. It says, for the glory that was set, Jesus endured. So all through the time of his trial and temptation and all of that, all he saw was the glory, at the end of the cross, the glory, the people are going to be saved, that there's going to be salvation, and that's what drove him. So let the bigger picture drive you.
Okay. So, I mean, this maybe backtracks a little bit, but why do you think we struggle so much with fear and self-doubt? If we're thinking about the end goal and we're thinking about our purpose and have that all figured out, why do you think people still struggle with fear and self-doubt?
Again, I would say this: purpose gives clarity. So you struggle with fear and self-doubt because you haven't gotten the clear picture. You don't have clarity. And you don't have clarity because you haven't identified your purpose. That thing that makes you take what you were born to do, what you are alive for, what makes you excited, that even when you wake up and they say, hey, you are excited, just the way you're excited about this, I can see the way you're zinging with energy.
Yes.
Right? So fear comes because there isn't clarity. And that's why you see sometimes in relationships, you hear some ladies say things like, I have 5 guys and I'm confused. But you can't be confused if you are purpose driven. If you already know your purpose, it gives you clarity on the kind of partner or the kind of man that you would say yes to, because your clarity allows you to see that his own purpose aligns with yours. Your values, your perceptions, your beliefs align with his, so they give clarity. It's easy to just make a choice, because in those 5 people there will be somebody, though not perfect, 100% perfect, but there'll be somebody whose vision and goals and mission and values and perspectives align with yours, so it makes it easy, right? And so a lot of people wallow in fear because they are afraid, again, of rejection.
That's a tough one.
Yes, the fear of rejection. But you see, you must evolve to the point where you'll be like Esther, who said, if I perish, I perish. What's the worst that can happen? You'll say no. So I'll walk up to Chinonso and say, Chinonso, hey, I like your dress, and I've been watching you for some time. Would you like us to sit down and have a conversation? Before you've done that, you've already prepared in your mind, there is a possibility that Chinonso will not agree to my request. But if she doesn't agree to my request, well, that's fine. It's all right. I just wanted to have a conversation with her. If she doesn't agree, it doesn't touch on mine. Once you're able to settle that, you've already gone into the battle, half victorious, because if Chinonso says yes, hey, praise God.
Right.
If she says no, all right, you knew there was a possibility for this to happen. But a lot of people are already afraid and build on that fear of rejection. And really, there's nothing wrong with being rejected, really. It just means you were not meant to be at that place, particularly at that time.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you're not qualified enough. It just could be that you're not prepared enough to handle that particular phase. So being rejected has nothing to do with who you are or that you're a failure or anything. You must build that at the back of your mind. A lot of people are afraid of failure. If I do this, I'll fail, and it happens to the best of us. If I go up to that stage to sing, I'll sing off key. I'm yet to see any musician who has not. I mean, you see, I was watching the video the other day. I think it was Davido or somebody. He slipped and fell. I saw another video of Beyonce. She was descending the stairs and she slipped and she fell, and she picked herself up. That's a woman who understands. Hey, I fell. Oh. Like everybody falls.
Right.
So you have to commonize some of these things. The moment you commonize little mistakes that normally can happen to anybody across board, then you won't be afraid of failure. And if it does happen, hey, it happens to the best of us.
Right.
You just make the most of it. So that's what happens with most people who struggle with self-doubt and with fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, lack of clarity because you have not defined your purpose. And I think that if you get some of these things into in perspective, then you would have dealt with it to a large extent.
I love what she said. And just a reminder to our listeners, remember, the worst that can happen with rejection is that the person says no. Overcome your fear of rejection. Overcome your fear and self-doubt. Thank you so much. We're going to go into a little bit of break, a short break. And when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation. And for my listeners, wherever you are in the world, don't forget you can join us in the conversation by calling our live studio number 0912 267-7989, and that is the Nigerian area code is +234 0912 267-7989, or send us a message with your questions at 0806 999-2999. In a short moment, we are going to continue the conversation. Thank you once again for joining us at Imo Light Up Radio Show.
I don't care for your hate. Me no fighting. Throwing down drums from bungalow out there. I did my penthouse, you can't even reach me. Me no frightened. It is not your fight, stand down. I'm not the one, calm down. You know I'm not your problem. You can't be me, why bother? Don't have your time now. Only move bow down. Bambi no farabalẹ̀, ọ̀bọ̀yà kò lárí mọ́lẹ̀. Okay, it's okay let them say. Trouble no dey pay me, Kinjaye on a daily. Okay, we go dey okay. I just want jaye me, loke. Baby, it's your daddy. My grace, you define. I get it times two. You dey eye me. Let me remind you. No, they try me. So bury me, go my berry. You got my attention. Now what you gon' do? You the tension, but your legs are gon' fool. Okay, cool it down. Cause me no fighting. It's not your fight, stand down. I'm not the one, calm down. You know I'm not your problem. You can't be me, why bother? Don't have your time now. Only move bow down. To bambi no farabale. Aboya ko lari mole. Okay. It's okay, let them see. Trouble no they pay me. Kinjaye on the daily. Okay. We go to okay. I just want to hear me. Look.
Hello, Imo Lites, Imo State, and beyond. Welcome back to Imo Light Up Radio Show. I'm your host, Chinonso Onukoa, and we are here with the fabulous Ndidi Anike Val-Okeoma. And she's been sharing some amazing insights about overcoming fear and self-doubt and going through her journey on how she overcame it all. So we're going to continue the conversation wherever you are. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're just waking up, good morning. If you're on your way to work, hello. If you're having your lunch, I hope you're enjoying it. Hashtag Imo Light Up. Tell us what you're having. Tell us what your favorite part of this conversation. Just join in and engage. There are many ways to engage. You can either engage on our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Imo Light Up, IMO LITEUP, or you can call us. Soon we're going to have an interactive session. You can call us with the live studio numbers at 0912-267-7989, and you can ask our amazing guest experts some questions. If you have any comments to share, you can call us, or you can send us a message on WhatsApp at 0806 999 2999. This is Imo Light Up Radio Show, only on Bus Radio 98.9 FM. So we are going to continue the conversation. Hello, Ndidi. How are we doing?
Right, I'm enjoying myself.
Right, this is so much fun. I love hearing you talk, and I'm sure our audience are taking notes wherever you are. Every week, I hope you're taking notes because we are spewing some insightful conversation that you can take to your, you can leave and say, oh, wow, I'm going to apply this. So one of the main things that will actually stick to me is like saying, the not being okay with no. Being okay with no and having that in your mind, because me personally, I don't like rejection. I don't like. Nobody does, right? So, but once you've prepared yourself, like the worst thing that can happen is no.
Because everybody can't accept you. You must leave that reality. I mean, everybody cannot.
Doesn't mean not everybody can accept you. That's another one too.
Everybody cannot accept you. The moment you can deal with that and accept that,
okay,
then you wouldn't be afraid of and is it rejection? It's just somebody saying I don't want this, and everybody has a right to choose what they want or they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not mean, I'm sure there are some foods you don't like to eat, right? But does that mean that food is not nice?
Right, no, right? That's true. That's true.
So that's the way I choose to see it. If somebody says no to you, another person will say yes to you.
That's true. That's true. You're not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. Yeah. That is okay. So my last question is for my listeners here. How can individuals, especially young people, how can they start to build inner confidence and emotional resilience?
Well, I can say this off the top of my head. The first thing you want to do is to even know who you are. You can't build if you don't know what you're doing. You buy a piece of land, you want a particular kind of structure. You must know the kind of things you want to build before you build that particular house, right? And so you must know, who am I? Your self-awareness. You must understand your strengths. You must understand your weakness. You must understand your values and your passions, because I'm different from you. You're different from me, different from my brother here, and all that. And then you must engage in a lot of positive self-talk. We live in an era where just the social media alone can mess your head up.
Yeah.
Right? The pressure from the social media you see all sorts of things, and unfortunately we're so sensational. We celebrate what another person would see as just a normal thing. We blow it off the top, and if you're not strong and you haven't built enough emotional maturity and intelligence, you'll begin to ask yourself, shouldn't I strive to do that? And then you forget that person is flowing on his own frequency. You have to flow on your own frequency. So you must be able to practice affirmations, positive self-talk. Every morning before I leave the house, if my husband is around, he would say things like, the world will hear your voice. He's always saying that.
That's
everywhere,
so wonderful.
At every point in time, he say the world will hear your voice. And these are affirmations that they ring in my head, even as I do the things that I do. Again, I would like to advise that people set realistic goals. When you talk about goal setting, you're talking about setting realistic goals. I'm sorry, I'm a woman advocate, but then that doesn't mean that we shouldn't tell ourselves one of the truths. We need to tell ourselves. And you hear a lady tell you that I have to have 50 ashwebi, and then I have to have five dresses, wedding dresses, or they call it reception dresses, and this is what will mean that I have had a successful wedding. But hey, you need to understand that a successful wedding is not tantamount to a successful marriage. After the wedding comes the marriage, right? So, and it takes more than clothes and a 50-tier cake or 50 ashwebi ladies to build the marriage. Marriage is a totally different ballgame together. So you must have realistic goal settings, and when you achieve those goals, you celebrate them. It doesn't matter how small. I mean, what is small to you is big to me, and what is big to me may be small to him, but it is me. And at the center of it all is you. It's all about you. You must learn to focus on you and celebrate you. I think it was a program. I think it was you, Chino, so that asked me, "Was it about you that takes?" And I said, "I just love me. I just totally. I'm excited about me. I'm totally loving my vibes and every other thing. So it doesn't even matter what you say. That's fine, right? An opinion is like a head. Everybody has one. So you just have your opinion. But I totally love me. So you must." Focus your energies on you. This is me. This is Ndidi. This is me. So, and when you achieve that thingy that you think is small, and anybody that says your win is small, how did you measure? How did you come about that measurement? About being small. And then supportive relationships. You really want to hang out with friends. Surround yourself with positive, supportive people. You don't want people helping you to second guess yourself. Are you sure you really want to do this? You know how the times are. No, you don't need that kind of negative energy. You need a lot of supportive. That does not mean, people will not criticize you, constructive criticism. It will come. It's part of the support and encouragement when people say, hey, why don't you do it this way? I think that if you apply this to this, so, and then when you come to emotion, you must build a lot of emotional awareness. You must recognize and understand your emotions. It's not everything that you must respond to, and all of you must have coping strategies. If this person says this to me, how am I going to react to this? Problem solving, self-care, just you're going to buy a car on the road doesn't mean you have to have your hair nets. Like, I'm just going down the road to buy a car. Look nice. You just never know if you're going to meet P2B on the road. Right?
Amen.
So,
Amen.
Self-care. And then you learn from your failures. The failures are there there are opportunities for growth and learning. If you didn't get it right now, doesn't mean that you are a failure. It just means you didn't apply the right procedures and the right steps, right? So you learn from them, leverage on those mistakes or failures, and then build on it to succeed eventually. And practice mindfulness, seek feedback. Chino said maybe after this program I'll call you and say how did I do? Did I speak well? What was my syntax like? Did I get my tenses? Was I nervous? What do you think I can do on the next? It will be nice. And be ready to hear honestly. Some may tell me, well ma'am, your vocabulary wasn't so good. And then that's not the time for you to get all fussed up all disappointed. Oh, are you saying that I'm not this? And then you go back and you think about it and dream about it. Oh, Chinonso said I can't. No. If she says, I think maybe we can work on this, then really work on this, because the whole idea, remember, the best form of revenge is success.
Yes.
The whole idea is that the next time you come back, you just leave a wow effect. Like, okay, this is definitely a step further from what we saw the last time. So yeah, these are some of the things the young people can do. Just generally, there are a whole lot of it, but we're trying to break down because of the time.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. You heard that. And I think, oh my goodness, one of the biggest things, you touched on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And social media, they say comparison is a thief of joy.
Yes.
So I know there's this thing on, how to create a viral moment. So everyone's always teaching how. So I don't know if you're on LinkedIn, but on LinkedIn, they'll say, okay, you post once or twice a week. They'll say it's not enough. Okay, then you post 5 or 7 times a week. It's not enough. Post every day. It's not enough. No, post it. It would never be enough. So you know yourself, what works for you. You just know your goals. So I love that you're so aware and certain, not just about yourself, not just about your purpose, but you're so intentional about what you're doing and what works for you. And I love that you have a strong support system around you. And you mentioned about words of affirmation. So when we're going to later on get you all are going to hear about tips, and one of the tips is actually words of affirmation and just speaking positive and kindness to yourself. So I'm glad you really spoke on that. Wow. So we have another question. Can confidence, this is a good one. Can confidence be learned, or is it something you're born with?
I think that confidence can both be learned and still innate. And this has to do with, when you talk about inborn confidence, it has to do a lot with personality. People are different, right? There are some people who, personality stemming from background and exposure that, even as children who are, very forceful and confident, and they speak, with so much confidence, and then their temperament, like when you talk about the sanguines, the sanguines are just, I can tell that you're a sanguine yourself.
Yes.
You just ooze so much energy everywhere. So these are innate traits, right? These are the things that help boost your confidence. But then again, you can learn flowing from your experiences, flowing from your environment. It's something that people, as you face challenges and achieve successes in one area, it helps you build confidence. So if you didn't do it right this first time, I remember I have a cousin who then used to be so scared of making pap. Something as simple as pap. For some people, I tell you, so it's such a big deal. And she would be speaking in tongues to prepare that pap, because she always complains that it's either lumpy or there's a lot. She just never gets it right.
Right.
So, and each time I make pap, she thinks it's a miracle. Like, how did you perform this miracle? I'm like, just pap. It's hotter than, And the day she eventually got this pap, she just kept hopping on one leg. She was shouting, and I was like, it's pap, you won't understand. This is the miracle of the century, right? So each time you learn and you succeed, it builds your confidence to do more, right? And then again, positive reinforcement, like I was talking about, positive feedbacks. You just need to be with people who say, you know what, it's all right, you made that mistake before, so let's keep moving. And then skill development. Every time you pick up a new skill, every time you do something new, you find that, oh wow, this is nice, I did this. Every time you create something with your own hands, you find that your confidence keeps building and keeps growing. And these are the ways you can learn confidence. And then again, self-reflection and mindset, changing your mindset. There has to be a paradigm shift. There are so many social cultural biases. As a frontline gender advocate, we are currently neck deep dealing with cultural biases stemming from patriarchy. You must be able to tell yourself, so I'm here, but I dare to be different. I dare to tread where the eagles dare. I dare to do this for myself. And then people will ask you, what's making you tick? I'm making myself tick. I need to prove myself to me. You don't have anything to prove to anybody except yourself. I need to prove myself that when I start something, I have what it takes to complete it. You're speaking to yourself. And so you must get to the point where you're your biggest fan, you're your biggest critic, and you're your biggest will I call it celebration. So
Right.
when it happens, whether people are celebrating you or not, you're just yes, right? So these are the ways that you can learn how to build confidence. It's both learned and it's both innate. Some people are born into a family where everything they do is affirmed. I was fortunate to be born into that kind of family, right? And then I just have that that personality trait of I just zing my way in. I come in, I'm the life of the party, and everywhere is I can find a way to make right. Some people cannot. So for those ones who don't have that innate trait, you can learn.
Okay.
And then when you know that these people are naturally shy people, when they do something nice, it will be nice to say, thank you.
Right.
I saw what you did. Trust me, the smile on their faces, the way their faces light up, is everything. It means everything to me. And they now know, the voice just smiled at me and just paid me a compliment. Tomorrow, her confidence goes a top notch.
Yes.
And then she begins to strive
Right.
to see if she's doing something that can be noticed, and she's learning it. Yeah, so these are things you can do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, hello, listeners. If you're just tuning in, you are tuned into Imo Light Up radio show only on Bus Radio 98.9 FM. I'm your host, Chinonso Onukwa, and today's episode was brought to you by Purview School, a top-tier phenomenal private nursery, primary, and secondary school, and they have an amazing summer camp and leadership academy going on this August. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to them on social media or info@purviewschool.org and ask them about their upcoming summer camp. So thank you for lighting the path for tomorrow's trailblazer. We just heard from the powerhouse, that is Mrs. Ndidi Anike Val-Okeoma, and she's just shared wonderful tips and inspirations about self-doubt, overcoming fear, finding your confidence, touched on, purpose, which is an amazing segue from our theme last week. And so we're going to take some questions from the audience. We have a couple of questions, and if you would like to call in, you can actually call in live. If you're currently in the country, you can call in from our live studio number at 0912 267 7989. 0912 267 7989. We'll take questions for a couple of minutes, then I'll leave you with some practical tips, an assignment, and then we'll wrap it up. Your power hour is almost done, so if you just started your lunch, you have about 10 minutes to finish your lunch and get back to work. But if you've been here with us, thank you for joining. Don't forget to tell us wherever with the hashtag Imo Light Up. Let us know where you're calling from. I believe last time we had audience from 3 continents, and we're trying to get audience from 7 continents. So let us know where you're coming from so we can see how diverse our audience is. So let's get back to our regular programming. Mrs. Ndidi, there's a question that says, do you have any advice for a person who is trying to get out of her comfort zone and break into a new field but faces constant rejection?
I said earlier on, rejection does not define you. When you face rejection, it...
Oh, hello?
Hello?
Oh, there's a call.
Yeah, is that Boss FM, Imo Light Up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's Informa calling from Owerri.
Hello, Imo, welcome. Thank you for joining us on Buzz Radio, on Imo Light Up radio show.
Thank you. I was trying to follow up on Facebook, but it went off. But from where I was listening, I was able to get things. Your speaker, the guest speaker, was talking about how to, not give up, right?
Right.
And no matter the challenges. And now, I don't know if I can have a question. I have a question.
Yes, you can.
If she's listening.
Yes.
Now, what if you have tried everything? It seems as if, whatever you tried doesn't work. At workplace, at home, everywhere. What do you do at a time when, you're just giving up? What can you do at that point?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. Sometimes, I'll just start with a little story. So, once upon a time, there was this ship, and something was wrong with the ship, and the crew members kept looking for the problem. And some people would come and say this and all of that, and we couldn't find the problem, or the problem couldn't be found. And then suddenly they called this man, and he came, and he just tapped in one corner, and the problem was solved. He just did a light tap on one part of the ship, and suddenly the problem was solved. And everybody was oohing and eyeing. And then when he gave his bill for, I think, $100,000, and everybody was screaming, oh, but that's so expensive. You just did a light tap. He said, yes, I knew where to tap. I knew where to tap, and that's it. Now, it could be, to the caller who just called, yes, you're trying so many things and you've gotten disappointed. But remember what I said, that purpose gives clarity. I would want to think it's possible that you're trying so many things, but you're not trying the thing. That thing that you can do so well. It's possible that you haven't discovered your niche. It's possible that you haven't found that thing that off the top of your head, off the cuff, you can do it. And that's why you're hitting in so many places and it's rebounding, and you hit here and it's not working. I think possibly you may want to do a little bit of self-introspection to find out what makes me think. What can I do that makes me think? There is something that resonates with your spirit. You just need to, sit back a little bit. You don't have to try out everything. I like the fact that you want to make an impact. You're possibly trying to solve the problems, but we are not for everybody. There is just one person who, when you do what you do, the ripple effect, and it takes one person to evangelize. I mean, look at the Samaritan woman. She was just sitting by the well, and and Jesus spoke to her, and then she just carried the message to other people. I believe that when you found that niche and that purpose, and you do that one thing, there is one person waiting for you, and the moment your result hits, that one person will validate all that you've done. So find that niche, find that particular purpose. There is a reason why you are existing. You count.
Thank you. So I hope that answered your question to our caller. And so we have another question. I believe you started answering how someone trying to get out of our comfort zone and break into a new field but faces constant rejection. So we're going to go into our practical tips, and then if we have time, we might take that question. Is that okay? Okay, so I want to leave with y'all with some practical tips. So wherever you are, get a paper and a pen. Okay, there are 5 tips, 5 proven ways to overcome fear and self-doubt. And I believe we went over some of this throughout the show. The first is name the fear. Label what it is you're afraid of. When you can label it and identify it, you know how to overcome it. The second is take small, brave steps. Action kills anxiety. So take steps, no matter how small it is. And as our guest speaker mentioned, she said, celebrate the wins as well. The next is affirm yourself daily. So one thing I loved about what she said is that she wakes up every morning and said something positive to herself. She has a support system, her husband saying something positive. So speak strength and positivity over your life. The fourth is learn from your failure. Do not dwell on your failure, but learn from it. The last one is surround yourself with support. Even if you just have one of your strongest ally by yourself. Some people think they need a million of people, and they get upset when they don't have millions or hundreds or thousands or even 20 people. You really just need one, maybe 2 so strong person by your side, and hold on to their voice, hold on to that support system. Whatever it is, call them up and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. Seek their support, seek their feedback, not to be validated, just to have that strong support system. So these are 5 proven ways to overcome fear and self-doubt. And so essentially feel the fear and do it anyway. No matter what they said, whatever it is, just start. Just do it. Whether you're afraid, whether you're shaking, whether you're anxious, whether you're nervous, just the only way to overcome fear is to go for it. And, just go for it. Literally, that's it. If not, it will just be stuck in your head, So I loved what this episode brought, and I hope you were able to gain some insight and gain something that you can take home with you. Now, again, we're not just here for the fun and games for y'all to listen and take, but I also want you to apply this to your life. So you're going to have a little action step today, an action step, a challenge. Are you ready? Okay, I heard y'all say yes. So your action step for this week, and I'll check in with you next week to make sure you completed it. Write down one fear or doubt you have been carrying. and take one action step to face it. Write down one fear or doubt you have been carrying and take one action step to face it. Now share your progress with us on Imo Lite Up on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Share your progress with us, your comments. Thank you so much for joining on this power hour of motivation, empowerment, and impact. Thank you to our amazing guest speaker. It was so amazing to have you here. Thank you for your time. Again, we'll see you same time next week. On behalf of Bus Radio 98.9 FM, this is Imo Lite Up Radio Show. I'm your host, Chinonso Onukwa, and this week's episode was brought to you by Pearlville School, the best nursery, primary, and secondary school in Imo State. Thank you, Imo Lites, Imo State, and beyond, and have an amazing Wednesday.
You're cruising with the Barr sounds of the city on Barr Radio. 98.9 FM Oweri. All hits. All day, keep it locked on 98.9 Barr Radio. 98.9 FM, where infotainment never stops.
So many reasons why I want it for you, my love. Now you want to retire with my love. See all the little good things you do, they make me no.